Well, here's a man who needs absolutely no introduction. One of the greatest, I was going to say one of the greatest golfers, but I'm going to go further than that. One of the greatest sportsmen of the 20th century, Mr. Gary Player. Welcome to Sportsvibe TV. And if I went through everything you've achieved in golf, we would both grow even older than we already are. Let's just say it's been a reasonable career, Gary. Is that fair enough to say?
Well, that's very complimentary, and I appreciate it very much indeed. I've been very blessed in my life. I don't ever take credit for doing it myself, because I often sit back and I say, well, there's no way I could have done that without divine help, and I mean that sincerely. And I never forget to say thank you every day of my life. When you think of where I've traveled, traveled more miles than any human being that's ever lived. They keep saying one of the most traveled athletes.
Never mind athlete, human.
I've been traveling for 60 years. I mean, nobody travels for 60 years. But I mean, when you think of where I've traveled just in the last 3 weeks, Johannesburg, Abu Dhabi, Morocco, Abu Dhabi, New York, back here to Johannesburg, London tonight, Johannesburg the next day, there for 2 weeks. I've done that all my life, just consistently traveled. But it's been a wonderful education. It's been a friend-making machine. And above all, I've enjoyed playing golf. I enjoy my stud farm with racehorses, probably more than anything I've ever enjoyed. Maybe it's the fact that I didn't have much routine in my life that I appreciate it. But I love the thoroughbred racehorse. And I also love raising money, which we've, as a small company, have raised close to, all in all, $35 million for underprivileged children around the world. So that's very gratifying.
It's been a good life. When the day comes, and the day will come for all of us, you're not going to have too many complaints, are you?
No, I've got no complaints. I've got 21 grandchildren. The love I get from them is remarkable. 6 children that are hard workers and doing well for themselves. So all in all, and a great wife. 54 years I've been married.
Wow.
Never complained about me leaving. I could have never attained the success I did without this great wife. And it's nice, I think it's a good example for young people to make them realize that you've got to stay married. You're going to have bad times and good times. You're going to know how to hold them and fold them. And today they have a bad time and wow, off they go and get divorced. And so I think people must make an effort to stay married. That's another subject.
It is another subject. 75 years young, Gary. 165, 166, who's counting, tournaments, including 9 majors, and you have won all the big 4, the Grand Slam. That statistically makes you one of the greats, and of course, you'll forever be bracketed alongside the other big 2 that made the big 3, Arnold Palmer, Jack Nicklaus, Gary Player. And I think the game of golf owes you 3 a great deal. What great days. You must have, well, a million stories, but you must look back on those days playing with those 2 and others, and have so many happy memories.
Oh, wonderful memories, because they were both great ambassadors for golf and great role models, and we travelled extensively promoting the game of golf.
And they were rivals of yours, Gary, but friends, I guess, as well.
Yes, extreme rivals, but great friends. I just spoke to Jack on the phone yesterday at great length. He's coming to visit me on my farm again this year. He comes almost every year. But, one of the things people always say, they say you won 9 majors. But the 9 majors I won on the senior tour, and the Grand Slam I won on the senior tour was a tougher and a better effort than the 9 and the Grand Slam on the regular tour.
Is that right?
Say, how can you say that? Well, the senior tour, we saw Tom Watson at 60 nearly win the Open. So it gives you an idea how tough it is to play on the Champions Tour. But you have to do that after the age of 50. And the thing that gave me such joy is that I've always been a fitness fanatic and very much a dietitian. And so having sacrificed and realizing my body was a holy temple and exercising when I didn't want to. And somebody said, do you love exercise? I said, yes, but I love the results better. So having done that and then enabling me to go on and win those Grand Slams and majors, the same amount on the senior tour, for me was a better effort because of the effort I put in.
You said something else as well. Please tell me this is true, because this is one of the best used quotes of all time. I use it myself to people. It's funny that the more I practice, the luckier I get.
That's right. The harder I practice, the luckier I get. That's true, and that happened. I holed 3 bunker shots in a row once, and this Texan was standing there, and he said, "I'll give you $100 if you can hold the next one," which I did, and he said, well, I forget how much. He said, "I'll give you for the next one," and I hold that. And he had that red man tobacco in his jaw. He would spat on the ground. He said, "Son, that is pure luck," and that's when I came out spontaneously.
It's a great line, and it's been used ever since all around the world. Now, you played in 52 Masters. You teed off for the last time in 2009. That, if you want to use a cricket term, Gary, and you've been in South Africa, will understand this, is a very good innings. But do you accept that, or would you still be itching to get out there and play? Or are you one of these guys, Gary, because even now you beat most people, but you're obviously not the player you were. Is that sad, or do you accept that's the way it is?
That's a very good question, Ian, and if you asked me that when I was 45, I would have said, I don't know how I'm ever going to stop playing, because I was so obsessed with the amount of work that I put into the game, and it was my life. But I'm going to tell you honestly, and if it wasn't so, I'd tell you, not playing in the Masters last year, didn't miss it at all. Not playing in it this year, I go to the Open, I haven't missed an Open. If you think of how many Opens I've been to in a row now, I don't know if anybody's ever been to more. I've played in the most Open championships ever in a row, but I never miss an Open because I'm a great fan of the Royal and Ancient, and I'm a great fan of the Open and of Britain. Well, my family tree comes from there, but I don't go to the Open and miss it, and I don't go to the Masters and miss it. You know why? Because as a young man, I prepared myself for my future with my farming, my representing of companies, raising money for underprivileged children around the world. So I'm inundated with work, and I've got things that I really love. And I'm going to say a good saying. I had a long innings, but I also had a feast. And when you leave the table having had a feast, you don't want any more. But one thing that gives me great joy, that I won golf tournaments in 6 decades. And through fitness, and this is the message that I'm trying to convey to the young people of the world. That's one of my big ambitions. Eat properly, educate yourself, and stay fit. And you look at most sportsmen, how many sportsmen even last for 1 decade? You think these great football players last a decade? Playing for 10 years? Very few. I won for 6 decades. Tiger Woods fan, I think that it's imperative that we have a superstar playing well, and I personally believe that's what his problem is, that he's got a bit of paralysis of analysis. They're making the golf courses too long now, they're making the greens too undulating, they're making the ball go too far. Instead of having all the technology for amateurs, but no, cut the ball back as a pro 50 yards. The proof is in the bottom line. The bottom line is that golf has got problems. There definitely should be a death penalty for people that do that to this harmless animal, that they can go in there and dart it and cut the horn off and let it lie there and suffer, and actually sacrifice his life on many occasions. People wanting to kill him and living in the bush and sleeping with snakes. And oh my goodness, what an incredible life. I have such a love for animals. And when I think of what they're doing to these animals, honest to goodness, it's hard to explain. Golf, man, there are 156 players at tee up. Very tough. And anybody can win. And that 156, anyone can win. And only your wife and your dog know about second.